Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Mark, Reach for the Stars, Hoffmeyer.
God damn it.
And I took Jay's intro.
Yes, you did.
I had never heard of S Club 7, Jay, or S Club.
I am Jay. Climb every mountain higher. Claude, how could you not have heard this song is from the first album I ever owned.
What?
It's S Club 7, Reach for the Stars. The album S Club, first album I owned. There wasn't like a greatest hits. First CD, I guess I should say. But yes, today, welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. We'll get into that in a minute. On this podcast, we have talked about the entire Deep Blue Sea trilogy, scene by scene. Now looking at Deep Blue Sea adjacent films. That's films directed by Rennie Harlan, featuring aquatic action or sharks. And this almost has sharks in it now and then for this week, as we're talking about Something in the Water. What is Something in the Water? It's a 2024 film. It's a new film, new release, directed by Hayley Easton Street. Written by Cat Clark.
Incredible resume. Have you seen the movies that Hayley Easton Street has worked on, done visual effects on?
I have. She's worked on like some Star Wars films and Justice League and Fantastic Beasts and
huge.
A lot of stuff. And now she's directing a shark film. This is her first feature length film. I think she did a couple of shorts. This is her first feature length film that she's directed, and this tells the story of five childhood lifelong friends. Who go to a destination when one of them's getting married, and you know they get stuck in the middle of the water with no boat and a shark. These things happen, and we follow the hilarity that ensues from their delightful stuff. So this stars Hiftu Quasem, Natalie Mitson, Nicole Rico Setsuko, Lauren Lyle, and Eloise Shakespeare Hart are the five ladies at the center of this film. So this was another, I think it's a new release this year. So we figured, let's talk about it. Let's talk about a new shark film, because
I love talking about these, and I also like researching where they were made. So this one was made in the Dominican Republic at the Pinewood there, and their huge tank, which makes me happy. Where they also filmed 47 meters down.
Oh, nice.
And 47 meters down uncaged. And the old was shot out there. Also, we talked about Shotgun Wedding, Jay. We've talked about that on the pod.
This is another destination wedding film.
I guess. Yeah. Roadhouse was shot there. Naiad, old. So
I've seen Naiad now. We didn't talk about Naiad. Naiad feels, I don't know. We're not going to do a show on Naiad, but I've seen it. I liked it.
We should just talk for like 24 hours and just eat protein bars and just yell at each other.
Well, I watched Naiad, and then shortly after that, I watched the Daisy Ridley, The Young Woman in the Sea.
Yeah,
and like that feels like a prequel to Naiad, but like everyone's in Young Woman in the Sea is like, oh, she's got to swim for like 8 hours. Like Naiad swam for like a week. This feels like nothing. How is this a film? How is this better?
Well, the Daisy Ridley swam so that Annette Bening could swim faster.
Yeah. Sure.
But no, like I love it. Like I love the tank work on this. They were originally supposed to shoot a lot more on location on the boats, but a huge hurricane came by, and then they had a bunch of inclement weather. And then the director, she was talking about how they went one day they went out on location, and she said that everybody was just vomiting. So like everybody went out, and just there's like an 8-foot swell, and every single person on the boat was just throwing up, and everyone was seasick. And she said it was carnage. And she said it was like really hardcore conditions, and then they were like, okay, let's do it all in the tank. So I thought they tried, like they went out to the Dominican Republic to shoot on location, like just to shoot, like not on location, but they went out to shoot. They went out to get on the ocean, get in the water, but it was just a nightmare, and they didn't have a big budget, so they shot in the tank there in the Dominican Republic.
And like it doesn't look like they're shooting in a tank. I mean, I don't know what tank shooting, how that looks different from being out in the ocean, in the open ocean. But to me, this looks like pretty good. I wasn't distracted by it looking like it was in a tank, because to me it didn't.
I mean, this is what happens when you get the visual effects artist on, some of the biggest films ever made, and just kind of knowing how to shoot. Like, so, sometimes in boats they just shoot upwards because there's just no water. But like, remember on USS Indianapolis where there's a lot of upward shots?
Yes.
Just to avoid the water at all costs. Like they didn't do that here. It worked. I mean, sometimes you can see where the stage ends and where the VFX begins. But I mean, for a tiny film, this still looks great. It's shot well, performed well, and I dig it. Like it's for all the problems they have. I think they wanted to shoot a lot more in ocean, but that sucks. Like save that for people who are like complete indie filmmakers that have $10 and are shooting open water. Like save that for them, not like an entire film crew with really fast sharks. They got some get up in this movie, Jay.
Yeah, they do. They kind of come out of nowhere, and it's not. We like our vindictive sharks on this episode. This like we like all the shallow sharks. We like our personality filled sharks. This doesn't have that as much. I feel like it's every time we see a shark, it's a different shark. Here, there's not a lot of through line with the sharks here, which is fine. This feels like this is in the kind of the open water, the reef stalked kind of region of more realistic shark movies. That you can see this predicament happening where they go to an island. I mean, the kind of the setup is they all go to an island because two of them are kind of estranged and aren't talking. We'll get to that in a minute, and so they kind of abandon those two to talk it out. And so this whole thing has been concocted by the other three to do that. And then, whilst the other three celebrate that they've got back together again, kind of, one of them's in the water, dancing Telescope 7. And then the attack sequence was odd. Her reaction to it was unusual. I guess it's very like uncinematic in terms of she's standing in the water. There's like a thrashing below her, and she just kind of gives a bit of a frozen smile, like it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, everything's fine. Then you see the blood coming from her leg, and then everything goes into chaos, which I don't know if that's if that's a realistic reaction or not, because I've not been in that kind of situation. But I guess someone could react in that manner. So
that shark
unusual.
never stopped.
Yeah,
that shark was just like so. When you walk by your island in your kitchen, and there's some grapes, and you just snag a couple while you're walking, or whatever you eat. There's some beef jerky. There's a cookie. Whatever, you just snag it and you keep walking. That's what the shark does to this leg.
it takes a fair chunk out of it. It's down to the bone.
The entire leg. Yeah. It's gone.
It's gone.
But it never stops. Like you just walk, you're like walking and you just grab something and you keep going. That's what this shark did. It was like a drive-by legging.
It's a swim by munching. Yeah, it's
wait, a swim by munching.
Yeah. So
man, Ruth, that was crazy.
Yeah.
It made me very happy.
Yeah, I hated that character.
No, she was great. Like I think Ruth was super cool. But it's just the fact that she's standing in the water and a shark does a swim by munching on it and then just disappears. Yeah. And then you're like, wait, what?
Peace out. Yeah. And he goes and tells his mates, like, oh, it's really tasty, lady. Like, follow them. Later, follow them. Yeah.
And then they hit the reef.
Yeah. So, when Lizzie takes control of the boat, they hit the reef. She, like, on the way to the island, she was complaining they're going too fast. And then going away from the island, she's now in charge of the driving and she goes way too fast. So, hit the reef, boat sinks, she can't swim, Ruth is unconscious, and so the other three are trying to like keep Lizzie afloat, despite not being able to swim, keep Ruth afloat despite being like prone, keep Ruth's leg out of the water. There's a lot of like got to keep the blood out of the water, forgetting gravity exists and we'll be dropping the blood into the water. But also, like keeping the phone dry is a real priority for a while until they abandon that quickly, and I'm glad they do because that seems silly. Like you're not going to get a signal in the middle of the ocean if you didn't have it on that little bit of land. You're not going to have it there. Like, yeah, so I'm glad they chucked the phone. That was good. That was annoying me for a while.
But I mean, it's less blood in the water.
Yes, it's less blood,
and you want to elevate it.
Yeah. It was like frustrating that Lizzie couldn't swim. Because like they had a flotation device that would have been really useful to put the leg on, but had to give that to the one who got them. But it added tension, added drama. I get it. Yeah.
Listen, BAFTA winner Lauren Lyle.
Yes,
she's like just an Outlander.
Yeah,
there's some pretty big names on this.
She was the one who I couldn't wait for her to die. She's like a great performance, truly, but an irritating character throughout.
I mean, I liked her bit about boats and yachts. Like boats are for middle class people, but yachts are for rich people.
Yes, sure, yeah. But just every other line, it's part of the character. It's intentional. Like I wrote down the dialogue. You brought us to shark-infested waters the day before my wedding. Everything is her wedding. Her wedding is her wedding. That I can't. What was it? this can't be happening. I'm getting married tomorrow. Ruth is my bridesmaid. Like after Ruth has died.
I read an Empire review where they're like the main takeaway. It was a negative review, but they said the main takeaway was don't have expensive destination weddings that force your friends to spend a lot of money. Like
Well,
that's
they
the
did say
takeaway.
they did say at the start that the oh, I need to talk about the start of this film. They did say at the start, like, they hopefully
Oh, we didn't even talk about the start of this film.
hopefully the parents of the groom, I guess he's the rich one, like, will pay for them to go out. So I had assumed that he had, but yeah. So it's become something we've noticed on these films is that these kind of shark movies do tend to kick off with a real harrowing experience. Like, I think
But like, oh
reef,
man, they all do.
the reef stalked is still like top of like domestic abuse leading to him killing like
Her sister
being found by the sister. That still is the peak, but this one isn't far off with a homophobic like hate crime against our lead couple.
Yeah,
It's like one getting beaten half to death, just for nothing, just for existing whilst gay, basically, and yeah,
and making a face.
yeah, like retaliating to being like being sworn at, being called a slur. Uh,
What? Yeah, that was. But that was. You know, there's always Jay in the Meg. Jason Statham. Everyone dies.
Sure. Yep.
In the Restocked, her sister's murdered by her abusive boyfriend. There's another one that we watched too that we talked about where there's domestic trauma before it. In The Shallows, she's her mom just died.
Yeah.
47 meters down, it's a breakup.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's
yes. Yeah.
I mean, they're not nearly the trauma of this, but like I think Meg, which is a great name for a character in a shark movie.
Absolutely. Yep.
Like, does she overcome that attack in this movie?
Well, so she's listening to guided meditation, telling her to kind of get over, like, forget the past, get over the past. I think it's less getting over the attack and more getting over blaming Kayla. I think, like forgiving Kayla for her role in it, because they're the two that haven't spoken for a year. Kayla and Meg, they were a couple, and then this broke them up.
They're about to get engaged.
They were about
spoilers.
Yeah, Kayla was gonna propose, and it's kind of
there's spoilers on this. Sorry.
Just, you get the feeling this is kind of fracture of the friend group a little bit, and this wedding is the first time that the five of them have been together since before that attack. Is kind of the gist I was getting. So this is repairing a rift, and then the five of them will never be together again, based on because of the events of the film.
Well, yeah, because 3 of them are dead.
3 of them are dead. They are together at the bottom of the sea or inside of a shark. Inside of several sharks, I guess.
I was hoping Cam would knife fight the shark a little bit more.
Yeah, although I mean, I'd never seen the response to trying to take on a shark just punching down at the water. Like she's got a knife, she drops the knife, she gets taken down with a shark, and then comes rising up, similar to Janice and Deep Blue Sea, but instead of just being in the shark's mouth, she is punching down at this thing, which is in that kind of situation, you've not got other options. But I've not seen that elsewhere. I appreciated that.
Cam's a fighter.
Oh, Under Paris was a recent tragic opening.
Oh yeah,
with like the whole team dying in there. And like when this film starts and they're walking through London, I was like, "Are we going to? Is it?" I had no idea where this was going to go. I was like, "Is it going to be like Sharks in the Thames? Is this under London? Is this a whole like different European cities of sharks in them?" No, it's not. That's not the case. It's not how this goes. But they do talk about sharks in Manchester at one point. Which
I like that bit about the global warming.
Yeah.
Also, Bait starts off with a tragedy.
They all do. They all tell us.
What's the deal?
I mean, it's establishing a main character with something to overcome, I guess, something to get past. Like it's setting up this is someone you should feel sorry for, getting the audience on their side, I guess.
Sometimes I've just wondered if you just like the characters. Like it's just
they're people, like them.
Okay, hey, we are on a destination wedding. We are all friends. One of us is kind of the live wire. One of us is kind of like, Cam is the live wire. Ruth is the practical one. Meg and Kayla are together, but they start some problems.
Lizzie's a bit of a not bridezilla, I don't know that term, but she's dedicated to her wedding.
Very, yeah. And
Yeah,
and listen, when you have a group of 5 people who you've known for a long time, they're a pain in the butt.
sure. Yeah.
Like, so this is believable, but like you just have people like each other. That's uh, I don't know. I watched another a movie called Out Come the Wolves where there's just so much like drama, but then they get attacked by wolves. Like I feel like that's enough drama. But all these movies have this same pattern. So it's just interesting that I mean I like the beginning of this. It's brutal. And it's something I like. I think it works and it separates them. They get back together and they reunite, but it's just interesting how all shark movies do this.
What was the one on the jet ski?
Bait.
No. Bait's a different
Not,
one.
oh
Bait,
man.
Bait's the one in the.
Why would I forget that? Bait, not jet ski.
It was
She's on
originally.
jet ski.
It was going to be called jet ski. Shark bait. Shark bait.
Shark
So
bait.
yeah,
And then her,
you
yeah.
were close. Yeah. So shark bait, I think, is the worst one where they're like the last two are stranded there, and then it's like, oh, I'm sorry for sleeping with your boyfriend. It's just real. I don't know. Wait, what are you talking about? What?
Yeah,
This
you
is
don't
clearly,
need that.
Why? Why are you doing this?
The drama's there.
Yeah.
Oh man, Shark Bait. That's a movie I wish I loved.
It's got all the right elements. Should love it. And
Yeah.
then they forgot to make it a good film.
But I think this one's getting unfairly maligned on IMDb. So like right now it's at 4.4 or 4.1. That's rough. This isn't a we've watched some shark movies. I don't think this is a 4.1 shark movie. Do you?
No, I think it's a bit better than that. Yeah, I mean, I watched this with my wife, and she normally does not enjoy watching these films, but she liked this one. She thought this was better than normal ones because of the like well developed characters and the relationships between them, the kind of the female friendship angle. Like these are believable characters in a believable situation, acting believably. Like that says a lot about these kinds of films. That's not always the case.
And it's such a bummer. In all the reviews, everyone's like, you made a movie with an all female cast. And you can tell the director's just like, we just talk about the movie. Like, please, like, I don't want to answer these questions over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's a female friend group. They exist. Like it's not like
now I will say the nice thing about this is like the reef stalked. That's like a legitimate like death. There's just straight up death. And so everyone's kind of somber. Like it's just very dour. This one, they're like, yo, you two haven't talked for a year. What happened was terrible. Let's get you back together. I mean, it's misguided, but like I think it's well intentioned. So it's not like the 5 of them, like no one outwardly rebels against each other. There's no like really jerk of the group.
Yeah,
which I like.
There's some in blaming as the whole thing was Cam's idea.
Yeah, that'd be anywhere though.
Lizzie was driving the boat, but that's kind of about it. That's you're in a stressful situation. You're gonna lash out a little bit, but there's no, there's no real jerky character that you. I didn't like Lizzie because of like of the group, she was my least favorite, but still,
I like Lizzie.
But she's still like she was a really good performance. Yeah, it's just the not fascination, the obsession with her wedding. But then you know, I mean, weddings like this is clearly a big wedding. She's like, when I got married, it was all I was thinking about for a while as well. 'Cause we put a lot of planning in that. And if the day before my wedding, I was thinking quite a lot about my wedding, so I get it.
And listen, she said that she was always thinking that her wedding was just going to be in a food hall with like sausages and pints. And so this one is a destination wedding, and they're going on a boat, and I think the guy had her fiance Dominic had a lot to say about what they were doing, and I think she was kind of like, you want it to be your day. Like I feel like with weddings, there's always like those friends who just need to be like, this isn't my day, but there's always that friend that's like, no, I am interjecting into this, and it's like, yo, just let the person have their time. So like, I don't think she was that bad. Like I think she made the comment about getting married. But I also think you just say that. Like, Jay, if you, me, Nick Rehack, Aaron Newworth, and who else do we talk to?
DJ Valentine.
DJ Valentine. We're in a car. we'd be arguing a lot, probably. I think we'd be getting
Absolutely.
along great,
Yes. I
but
think so.
so we'd have comments. So it's I never just I always thought and maybe it's the performance by Lauren Lyle, and I need to tell my mom about that show she's on because it looks good. My mom loves Scottish shows. Just putting that out there in the world.
Or
But yeah,
Outlander.
yeah, she loves Outlander. Monarch of the
Okay.
Glen. My mom's
Sure.
obsessed with Monarch. That's why we went there in '06. But I don't know. I think she's really good. I think she's funny. I don't know. I like Lizzie, and she sacrifices herself, and
I
I
love.
don't.
I loved her reaction when Megan Kayla came back and said, "Can we like make it a double wedding and add our wedding on to like just tag ours like joking with her." The performance of her
Yeah,
reaction was perfect. That
yeah.
kind of restrained happiness, but no, you're ruining my life right now. It was pitch perfect how she should have reacted. So I that was excellent.
What have I done?
Yeah, this is, uh,
And props to what Nicole Rieko Setsuko for. I hope I got the middle name. I try to listen to all the names before we do this, but I always end up butchering them. But I liked her because Cam is like in every one of these movies. There's always the like, I'm gonna get a boat. I'm not
yeah,
gonna tell
a
people.
bit
I'm big.
cavalier. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm the dance. I dance and I drink and I sneak into rooms and I'm like the life. I think some actors definitely force that, and you can just feel the, you know, I'm not saying this movie, but you can feel like the subpar dialogue. Like they're just
hmm
trying to slam you in the face with who this character is. But I didn't feel that with Cam. Like she seemed cool.
yeah, yeah.
Um, it was not a bad idea. I mean, listen, the boat was totally fine. Like just
They
no
just
one
wanted more. They wanted a
expected.
better one.
No one expected that there would be a munch and swim and that they would try to get off and hit a reef. Like that's not something you don't like. Everything would have been fine. So like I don't even think her plan was that bad. Like in the descent when they go into when they go into the uncharted cave system, Juno, because she's trying to make up for stuff,
Yes,
you're like, yo, like we're
that was
dead.
I mean, of the group, Cam is the Juno, but only because like she's the closest to it. Like Juno
Yeah.
makes some mistakes. Cam doesn't make mistakes. It's not people know they've gone out, but like
Yeah.
she's borrowed a boat. She's like not stolen it. She's borrowed it from someone who knows that she has it. Like she's found the location of this island from the assistant manager, so presumably he knows that she's gone there. Yeah, they've taken their phones. She should have checked their more life jackets. Agreed, but that was as no one did. No one
Yeah.
checked. Like no one bought drinks and food with them. Which maybe
It's
they
like
should have
when
taken more supplies.
like five people in a car and someone's like, oh, you didn't get yada yada. It's like you didn't look. It's like, no, there's five of us in
Yeah,
here.
no
I
one did.
probably like I should have looked, but also there's four other people in here who did not notice. So
Yeah,
yes, I take blame on that, but like no one else here saw it.
sure.
So but no, man, I don't know how you give this a 4.1. I think like
I mean, I the only thing I could say is there's not if you're going to into this because it's a shark movie, it's not a lot of shark in it.
no.
Which I went to this as a shark movie and was if you've seen the trailer, you've seen pretty much all of the sharks that are in this film. Like there's only
And the
really
poster.
there's only really one shot of the shark above the water, and that's in the trailer. Everything else is kind of mostly hidden, or there's quite a lot of shots of characters swimming and a shark just like in the background, no one's noticed. Like a shark just swims, and then nothing happens with that, which I feel like is quite realistic of how it will be out in the wild. Like sharks aren't just going to swim up and attack you. That's not what they do. If you're bleeding, then yes. If they think you're a seal or a rich suit, then yes, they'll attack you. But if you're just like in fairly shallow water swimming, like sharks are in the water as well. They're not always not they're not permanently hunting for humans. Sometimes they're just kind of chilling and going past. So
Oh
Ruth
hey,
was
look what's in the water.
Ruth was unlucky, and then every time after that there was blood in the water. So
And also they had a guy in the pool with a fin on his back.
yeah,
And then he just had a little zoom thing that sent him around in circles. So that's why you kept seeing shark fins in the background, which makes me happy. I like
yeah.
that.
Like this is more of a relationship drama
Yeah.
than it is a like shark horror movie. I guess. Um,
And that's what the writer said. That's what the director said. You know, I'm
right.
surprised you didn't open up this episode with J. Colon Cleanse, Clue It.
I mean, I've done that so many times now. So many episodes have opened with colon closed. But no, I thought
I,
I'd take S Club 7 because there's no way you're going to do that. Like this is it's clear. It's furious.
so this is why I did it. I
You've
was
never heard of
listening.
them.
No, I'd never heard of them. So I was listening to the song. I'm like, was this just made for the movie? Is this one of
Oh,
the
Mark.
actresses? Like, I was like, is this one of the actors who recorded it? Is this like what is this? But it
They're
makes
about
sense
to go on tour again.
see, but this was recorded so long ago, so it makes sense that as a friend group, they probably listened to it and were dancing to it. But it's just something that I would have completely missed had I not been like, what is this song? And then I started looking at S Club 7 and now S Club. I was like, cool.
Because
What is
Paul
this?
passed away.
Yeah. And oh gosh. But yeah, I was like, oh, so this makes a lot of sense. And also in all caps in my notes, I have good actors. They make
Yeah.
all the difference. And I think in too many of these films, it's just very dour. Like it's just like just really like bait. Everyone's just real bummed. And so except for the people in the car park, I like them. But
I just got to get back. I'm sorry, but S Club 7
yeah.
they had their own TV series. They had a couple of like made for TV movies. That like to not have heard the song Reach before is it's like astounding. I get it. They're a British band. But I had assumed they had made they were like just behind like the Spice Girls in terms of like in chronology. And I feel like picking a Spice Girls song probably would have been more expensive, but also would have been too on the nose. And like we've got a five girls here, and a 5 girl group. It's parallels. I'm glad they didn't do like stand up and start singing "Wannabe" or something, because I don't like the Spice Girls and I love S Club 7. But sorry, I just
I mean, like I wouldn't have known about a lot of K-pop bands had I not been assigned to do a K-pop assignment. And then I learned I didn't know I didn't know who Blackpink were. And then I
still
realized
don't.
they're the most followed people on YouTube.
Well,
Like,
okay,
they have billions of like they're marketing genius. Like I don't want to go into how smart they are. Like each person in the band, I don't even know if they're still together, but they all film their like they do a video and then they do a training for the video behind the scenes. And then each one does their own videos that go on their socials. And so by like one song and one video, they get about 43 pieces of social. And they're just like they're just huge, like one of the biggest bands in the world. And like Stray Kids, and I would have known anything about them had I not researched them. So there's a lot of stuff out there that like I'm just not. Does that make sense? Like there's just so much out there now. I think it's easy to miss something.
yeah, sure.
And also,
Yeah,
when did S Club 7 hit big?
Oh, like the
2007?
no, it was like the late '90s, early 2000s was when I started
Oh,
listening to them. And they kind of disbanded around about '03, but then they picked up again for a couple of years and then disbanded again and picked up again recently. Like, have you seen Juice Bigelow European Gigolo?
yeah, but I don't think I could tell you.
No, fine. Well, there's one of the women that Juice Bigelow helps out in that is like she's credited as Louisa the Dirty Girl. There's just a lady who's like really filthy, and
Oh,
yeah, she's just like really like filthy and muddy and awful in that way. And Juice Bigelow like dunks her in a river and cleans her off, and she comes out all beautiful. That's Rachel Stevens from S Club 7. Is that that is her? That is playing that part. So she's not like a massive actress. That's like her highest profile role, I think. She's been in like, a couple of very small roles and other things. But also, she was on a podcast I listened to this past week. So it was just odd that she was on that, and then also Something in the Water at the same time came up. But yeah, so it's a very S Club 7 week at the moment.
between Devil's Pass and this episode, I'm learning a lot about your like. I'm
Sure.
learning a lot about like British influencers and
Yeah,
and S Club 7.
yeah, S Club 7 and Gemma Atkins.
So what's the S Club 7 starter pack?
I
Or
mean,
S Club?
Reach is their most well-known song, I would say. And then you've got.
I mean, you would have to reach for the stars, or they just kind of
absolutely. But like, Bring It All Back is a classic of theirs. Never Had a Dream Come True is one of their more like ballady numbers. Don't Stop Moving is their other like massives, like Reach and Don't Stop Moving. And S Club Party is their like title You know how Backstreet's Back, S Club Party is the S Club 7 version of that. Um, yeah, but Rachel Stevens had her own solo career as well. Sweet Dreams by LAX, and oh god, there's one. There's a Rachel Stevens song that's on my running playlist that I go to often that I can't think of what it's called right now. I said never again.
Run for the stars.
I said never again. Is a great Rachel Stevens song that has a really good beat and is really good to run to.
You got to
So
send me this.
will do. I'll make you a Spotify playlist.
I like this movie, Jay. It's I don't know. I don't think like the action is so secondary to this, and it's very formulaic.
Yeah.
Like you get the leg bit off, and then they leave her, and then one of them has to swim away. It's very formulaic, and like one of them sacrifices himself. But I don't know. It's just get some good actors, get a good director, good like the shot selection's really good. Like even the yellow boat, like just the thought that they put in like the production design and the costumes and
The shot of the tide after they've left the island, like you get like a bloody tide coming in. That's a nice shot. That's like because you've got all of the like Ruth's blood in the water from where she was attacked, and then they've left, and there's a little quick overhead shot of just blood coming in the water. It's probably done that in other shark films as well, but it's a nice shot. I like it.
a lot of overhead shots, a lot of drone footage. But I mean,
Yeah.
you need to do something. Like you need to get that footage. So yeah, I mean, I like the second unit stuff. I like the drone footage. I liked what they got. And I mean, for like a first time directorial debut by like someone who really knows what they're doing, I think it's good. Like I think what's really good is sometimes you get visual effects artists who come into film, like that movie Legion. That movie is so like such an interesting concept, but the performances are so dour. And I think the only thing they focused on were the visual effects. Whereas I think with this one, they focus on the performances and then the visual effects. And like the action doesn't really matter. But I think that speaks I think that's good. That means good things for Hayley Easton Street's career because she can do all the VFX, but then and art direction and production design and camera work. But then you can also handle character work, which I think is good. I liked it.
Yeah, she's got two films coming up. She's got the Climb, which kind of sounds like this, but on a mountain.
Like the fall.
Kind of, but with like six women doing daring and is inspiring illegal climb. And Cara Delevingne is currently tagged to star in it. It's got they're climbing it's not a mountain. It's the Shard. They're calling it the Shard in London.
Close enough.
It's like a thriller heist thing. And Violet. Two female strangers end up sharing a cabin on the Trans-Siberian Express. One of these women is not what they seem, but which one? So we'll see about that.
I like Cara Delevingne. I liked her a lot in. I don't know anything. I know she has done some reality shows, and I don't. I know she has a sister.
She does,
but I've kind of. I don't know them from any of that. I just know them from like Valerian, and I thought she was good in Valerian. I love that movie.
She was good, but yes, there's a lot to that film.
I guess it makes sense that Luc Besson, like picked her for it, but it's like, yeah, I dig her, so I'm looking for. I'll watch it. I'm excited to see what she does.
And who is it? So Natalie Mitson, who played Kayla in this one, she's also been in a film called No Limit, which I feel like we should add to the list if you haven't seen it already, which is like a diving film from a couple of years ago on Netflix.
Where you just dive. Is that what it is?
Roxana Aubrey decides to drop her studies and escape her life in Paris for a free diving course in the south of France. She is quickly pulled into a life that reaches new depths brought by the weight of an ocean's descent.
Ooh.
Don't know where that goes, but she's in it.
Camilla Rowe from Night House is in it too.
Okay.
Wait, the Deep House. The Deep House.
Yes, sure, yes.
There's so many houses.
There's too many houses. Keep them on the land.
Man of the House.
Houses are supposed
Night
to
House,
be on the ground.
Deep House. House of the Dead. House on Haunted Hill.
Doctor House.
Doctor House.
House MD. House.
Oh no. But I just want everyone to know and maybe by the time you're listening to this episode, the Deep House is our most popular episode.
I love that that is the case, and I think actually on the topic of house shark is up there as well. It's one of the most common, most popular ones, I think. So
Yeah,
something about sharks and how or like aquatic creatures and houses. Uh, I don't know.
I,
Keep
I
listening.
think we're the one of the few people to have covered Deep House.
Yes, I think that's the case.
I don't want to discredit our content, but I do think everyone's like, "Oh, Deep House, I should learn more about that," and no
Oh
one's
no,
talked about it.
everyone clearly just keeps on going back and listening to my paddleboarding story. That's all. That's all it is. That's all it is. Yeah.
On a Scottish loch.
Yes. Yeah. In a lock where went paddleboarding, and then the sunset, and surprisingly, it got dark. Because I wasn't aware that when the sun disappears, so does the light, and then I
What?
couldn't make it. Yeah, and I was surprised as you are, Mark. And then yes,
That's crazy talk, Jay.
hilarity ensued. So what? My one punch up for this film, something in the water, is at the end of it when Kayla and Meg make it back. I want them to go through with the wedding, but now with Kayla and Meg getting married, I want same guests. Everyone just be like, the bride has died. Groom, your sister has also died, and this other lady that some of you probably knew also has died. But these two are here, and some of you know them. I think this one's been like missing for a year. Either way, they're getting married. Same wedding, everything paid for, right? Spared. They're having sea bass for lunch, spared no expense. Like, let's go. I really want that to have happened. They just land, break the news. Right, sorry. Ruth and Lizzie and Cam didn't make it. I'm Kayla, Meg, married. Yes, cool. That's my one punch up. Is go through with the wedding.
I just want to see the fiance slash brother's reaction.
Yeah, because like yeah, you get wedding insurance, but I don't. I feel like this isn't the kind of thing that's covered by wedding insurance. It's like the death of the bride and the groom's sister and the bridesmaid.
Like, so how did everyone die? Well, we took a boat out to an island, and then we went in the water and got attacked by sharks. Then we crashed. Then we all
Well,
died.
actually, so what was
That's
she
not an
doing when
act
she
of
got?
God.
Yeah, what was she doing when she got attacked? She was dancing to S7. It wasn't playing at the time. We were remembering it from the night before, and yeah, and then yeah, they died, and but we're back. We're here. We can still, you know.
Dancing would be everyone would be crying. Jay,
Yeah,
like,
the first dance is Never Had a Dream Come True. S7. Uh,
it's just everyone's just crying on the dance floor.
that is a real first dance song. Never Had a Dream Come True till the day that I found you is a real romantic, slow first dancey song. Yeah.
You know what's interesting?
I hadn't planned for this to be an S7 podcast, but I'm so happy that it is.
Yeah, I love it. Why not? Real quick. So, like, I think it's pretty interesting that I was reading about the crew and who worked on this, and Hayley Easton Street said she had never worked on a big blockbuster film with a female director. She was very male dominated, so she liked that this movie had like female heads of departments and crew. She said it was like a breath of fresh air. I thought it was interesting. She's like, however many years I was working on other people's films, I never once worked with a female director. It's like I like that. You got to make these films to show other like bigger investors that you can make these films. And I hope she makes more because I dig this one. Like, this is,
Yeah,
I don't know. I think
I
think
mean, for our sins, I was trying to think: have we covered any other female-directed films? And as yet, I haven't come up with any, and I feel very bad about that.
Point Break.
We haven't covered Point Break. We probably won't. I don't like it.
Oh,
Uh,
Jay, why?
oh, I think it was just overhyped for me the first time I saw it, and I was like, well, this seems fine, and it's just not got any. But I will say one thing: better than the remake. The remake of Point Break is a crime to anyone that watches that.
Oh yeah, that movie's terrible.
It's awful, awful, awful.
I don't know why it exists.
It shouldn't. Yeah, it just shouldn't exist. But yeah, I'm like going down the list of films we covered, and I've yet to find. I don't
Well, I
remember the
think
directors for all of them, but I don't think
we
we've
haven't
finished.
done ourselves any favors because we do Rennie Harlan movies, Deep Blue
Yeah.
Sea, and then shark movies. So it's, we should think about what we cover more. But I do think we've kind of picked a genre that's very like dude driven.
Yeah,
Like we've covered a
absolutely.
lot of
Oh,
Rennie's made like 20 some movies.
I'm not blaming us, man.
Oh, okay.
I absolutely am. There must be. Well, I'm going to make an effort to try and find some more female-directed films that are Deep Blue Sea adjacent in some way, and we will try and cover some more of those.
We should talk
Uh,
about Jennifer's body pool scene, Karen Kusama.
Absolutely, yes, yes, yeah. There's a bunch of scenes we could cover from Deep Blue Sea adjacent films, certainly. But yes,
God.
every Rennie
Wait,
Harlan film was not directed by a woman. Sure we know. Uh,
uh, what else is there to cover about this film? I mean, uh, I like that they actually tried to get on the water. It was too crazy. They had a very limited budget, so they shot it on the tank. But everyone was freezing in the tank. So I guess all the actors were saying that while everyone else was in wetsuits, kind of hanging out, and then they were just freezing in there. But that's not something you think about. It's like, hey, we're gonna go to the Dominican Republic in summer, and this tank is gonna be freezing. Like that's not something you think about, but it probably is something you should think about because that's always a common complaint about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So yeah, but
Uh,
I mean, anything else?
no, I think we've covered pretty much everything I had. When they get to the boat, no one gives Kayla any kind of Megan any kind of medical attention or a bottle of water or a blanket or anything. She's just kind of sat there, which I I don't know. There's like three other people on the boat, but no one's
It
doing a damn thing.
it does go full shallows at the end.
Yeah, the ending is very like nick of time, skinnier teeth, just about action movie climax make it.
Yeah,
But fine, whatever. I didn't, yeah, it didn't bother me. So
and she does kick a shark,
she does kick a shark.
but you don't really see it. But I mean, whatever. That's not the point of this film. Like I think if the point of the film was to be all shark action, then you could kind of critique that. But that wasn't the point of this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock it for that.
I agree. Sorry, I'm just checking every film we've covered and who
Wait,
directed
how
it.
many songs have S Club 7 been on soundtrack? So S
Oh,
Club
that's
7 IMDb.
uh
We could do an S Club 7 draft for where their songs have been.
I mean, yeah, I can't. None are like leaping to mind
Oh,
as to when they've been used. Uh, let's have a look.
as happy as you were in that this is the end when they started dancing to Backstreet Boys, that made me
Yes.
very happy.
Oh yeah, same.
Like, like I so I, I was in high school when all of that was happening, and I was always like I don't know why I compared them to each other, but Backstreet Boys were far and away better than NSYNC. Like Backstreet Boys have, like if we're talking about like boy band, girl band, Hall of Fame, I think they have three songs that would be first ballot, which is what Backstreet's Back,
All right.
and then all right, that would be that, and then they have the one like I Want It That Way. Oh
Sure.
man, that would be huge.
Yeah.
Oh no, everybody, Backstreet's Back, I Want It That Way, and then As Long As You Love Me, I think would be. Oh, quit playing games. So I would say they have three that would be immediate. I don't think NSYNC have that. Bye bye bye.
Yeah. All the kind of the 90s 2000 boy bands do kind of merge together for me. They don't. I couldn't tell you.
LFO.
LFO.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, the girl on the TV. I think I fell in love with the girl on
Nope.
the TV. Wish for you on a falling star. Like, and then Jennifer Love Hewitt was in the video.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking up S Club 7 films and TV shows that they've been in. Something in the Water, not on the list yet. We give them time, I guess. Not a lot of films on it, to be honest. One Day, the Anne Hathaway, Jim Sturgis, is it? Don't Stop Moving is in that. Um, a bunch of UK TV shows.
Is that the movie
Uh,
with her on the bike?
yes.
I've never seen it.
That's yeah. I mean, if you know that, that's what you need to know. An episode of Lizzie McGuire had Everybody Wants You in it.
Oh,
But the parole officer with Steve Coogan had Don't Stop Moving. But yeah, there's not enough here to do a draft. I'm
okay,
afraid, Mark.
okay.
So we'll skip that one. But yeah, it did make me like the film more. It's the fact that it had Hiftu Quasem in it. Uh, and it fits timing wise for the age of these characters, the fact that they're all British. And it's a real like back together. Ah, oh, Reach is coming on tune, jump around and sing to it, etc. Uh, well, second punch up. At no point in the film does anybody say, "I think there's something in the water," which
Something in the water.
with a title like that, it's easy to do, and they didn't do it. So someone needs to do it. So I've
And
said that.
I feel like Cam could have been like, "Yeah, my pee."
Yes, she does urinate, and then encourages Lizzie to do the same.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was an
yeah.
interesting conversation. Will sharks
If,
come? Like, no, I peed hours ago. It's all good.
if anything, they're going to stay away. You're going to taste like pee. Uh, yeah. So no,
I have a question, Jay.
sure.
Do any of these people need to die?
So I guess I knew which three were going to die pretty immediately.
Yeah, because you can't kill a couple, right?
Yeah, like as soon as we start, because when Cam gets annoyed at Ruth for talking about global warming, he's like, "Well, Cam's going to die because we can't have this character survive because she's talking about global warming is like annoying to hear about." Ruth gets bitten, so it's clearly going to die, and Lizzie was being annoying, wedding wise. So I was like, well, these three are going to die. And then as soon as Kayla was like, I'm going to head out on my own and try and save everyone, I was like, well, either this isn't going to work or you're surviving this film as the hero. Um, so either we're just never going to see you again. You've swum off and then you've just disappeared, which I think happens in The
Swam
Reef.
the wrong way.
Yeah. Um, but needed to die. None of them needed. Like, had all five of them survived. Like after Ruth gets attacked, that would have been very difficult for her to have survived. I think. But I don't
Yeah.
think there's no one that like was an awful character. There's no Scoggins in the group. Scoggins was never going to survive. But actually, saying that, then Aaron survives Deep Sea too. So who knows?
It's just
Uh,
if this movie's about friendship, then like, keep the five together. Budgetary constraints probably and coverage would be harder. I mean, it makes sense for horror movies to kill their characters off because it just gets cheaper. You don't have as many
yeah,
people on set. So I guess from a budget standpoint, it makes sense. But I wouldn't mind these five just like hanging out in the ocean and chatting.
yeah, yeah. The accommodations were interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of how it's similar to Deep Sea, it's there's nothing really groundbreaking here. There's sharks, there's peeing in the water. There's a party scene. There's a knife. There's a storm. There's a sacrifice. The shark, uh, the life jacket being used as a distraction, and the shark attacking the life jacket. That's pretty Deep Sea. Like, at the end when Meg wipes her blood on the life jacket and throws it, the shark goes for that. So that's very Deep Sea. But nothing revelatory in terms of similarities to Deep Sea. Um, but how deep and how blue and how much at sea is something in the water. Listeners, when I go through these films, I have a notebook, have a spreadsheet, and I make a note of how deep on average the action is taking place throughout each scene, how blue everything is on screen at any given time, and how much the film takes place at sea. And we'll make averages at the end. So deep blue sea is, of course, on average 14.5 meters or 47.5 feet deep, 31% blue, and 89% at sea. Mark, do you think something in the water is deeper, bluer, or more at sea than deep blue sea?
It's not deeper because there's no deep. There's nothing. There's no, not deeper, but it's bluer.
And sea wise?
Oh, oh, oh.
Mm.
Because when they're on the island, is that sea?
That no, island is land. It's in the name, island.
Oh, goodness great. No, it is not.
Okay, you are
It's
correct.
okay. It's bluer, but it's not deeper or more seer.
Yeah, correct on all fronts. So this is mainly on surface level of the water. There's a few bits where Cam is diving down and she gets startled by a stingray. But there's some bits on land. This worked out being like 23, 24 centimeters or zero point 0.8 feet up in the air. Blueness, it's 51% blue. Oh, that means it's slightly above the Rakan from below, which slightly below Anaconda. Blueness, it's slightly bluer than tentacles, slightly less blue than the deep. And seaness, this is 73% of this is set at sea. Because whilst they're at sea for quite a while of the film, it's not a long film. So it's like 86 minutes, including credits. So the stuff they are on land on the island does like factor into it a lot. So yeah, 73% on sea. So that means it's more at sea than Survive, less at sea than Crimson Tide. Yeah,
Survive.
I
forgot we talked about that movie.
I was editing that today. That's a film.
There's no time.
There's no time. So anything to plug, Mark?
Yeah, just Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, which you're listening to now, and Movies, Films, and Flicks, the podcast.
Yeah,
Jay and Nick Rehack, friend of Deep Blue Sea, we're doing a kitchen fight series where we watch kitchen fights and see if they're Michelin star worthy. And we just did one for sudden death, so that's one you should listen to.
It wins. Excellent, will do. As for me, I will have a review for Something in the Water over on Blueprint Review when this comes out, so go check that out. You can follow this podcast all over social media at Deep Blue Sea Pod. Email us deepblueseapod@gmail.com for any suggestions, any other shark films coming out that we don't know about. Please let us know. Next week is going to be a scene, Strangers Pray at Night, one of the few Strangers films not directed by Rennie Harlin, but it does feature a pool scene, so we're going to talk about that next week. But as for today, as for Something in the Water, I have been Jake Lewitt.
And I'm Mark Hoffmeyer.
And we'll Deep Blue see you next week.
Sayonara.